All right, what are the headlines this Friday morning? Of course, joining us to take a look and review the papers is the energy editor of New Telegraph newspaper. Good morning. It's good to see you, Adeola Yusuf. Yeah, all right, let's begin with the Punch. Osinbajo, 9 governors on panel to end killings by herdsmen. Crisis may get out of control, says Sultan. That's Sultan of Sokoto, warning there.
Yes, you see that the burning issue, if you allow me to use the word in Nigeria now, is that killing, senseless killing. And I think it's not a new thing, it has been happening. And what has been the collective failure of the leadership we have is their inability to solve this.
When you say it's not a new thing, it's been happening, are you saying under this administration or even long before this administration?
Even long before this administration, it has been one of the problems being faced by every president of this country. And it's so disheartening to still have that issue being discussed today. And I think people should while showing emotion, should as well try to discuss the way out of this problem. We can't allow people to be killed, children, pregnant women, every time.
Indeed, because it's not enough to discuss the problem. What is the way forward?
What's the way forward? That's it.
Okay,
Indeed, okay. Benue women storm National Assembly, protest killings, of course. And when women come out and they're wearing black, you got trouble coming.
Of course, of course.
All right, what else do we have here? Man beaten to death in Lagos Bale's Palace over motorcycle. Another Nigerian losing his life over some material thing. If it's not Nigerians in Benue losing their lives over cows.
This one is over motorcycle.
Over motorcycle.
It's unfortunate. To even add to that, you'll be shocked to know that people are losing their kids because of their inability to pay 5,000 naira hospital bills. So a lot of things are happening. Very disheartening.
The worth of a Nigerian life.
Very sad.
And court affirms IPOB's prescription designation as terrorist. Okay.
All right, so we'll go to the Nation newspaper. Tinubu on herdsmen, farmers' crisis. Enough. Fuel subsidies should be reformed. He was represented at an event in Lagos yesterday, and the statement was that it was the failing, like you said earlier, of past administration, not just this administration, of past administrations in the country, not to address the problem.
Yes, even looking at it beyond the past administration, is beginning to become a major problem and failure of all of us as Nigerians. What do we have? We shout, we condemn, we abuse. At the end of the day, none of us will come up with this is the solution to this problem. And you know that all the wars that have been fought will say hand on a round table.
Absolutely.
So why don't we
might as well,
if you want one, just Jojo.
Sit down and find ways forward peacefully.
Peacefully.
Yes. Okay, $500 million recovered at Bacha loot, missing. EFCC to quiz ex-finance minister Okonjo Iweala. Many are puzzled really in the office of the EFCC at this time. Said about $250 million was, funneled to the office of the National Security Advisor, but the remaining half of that amount is still not known where it is.
Oh, this is another story that will want to move you into tears. You have accused someone, or you have seen signs that someone stole a humongous amount of money that are meant to develop the country, and you have embarked on a recovery move. Now, saying that you have recovered is missing is inexplicable.
But it was under the administration of former President Goodluck.
No matter administration that is coming from, is unheard for. I've just told you of instances of people that are losing kids because of inability to 5,000 naira. So where will you, which country do you think this will just pass on that?
So saying that the loot is missing is an understatement. The loot has been looted. Exactly. It's as simple as that.
That is it. That is it. And it's very, very disheartening, like I said earlier. So you can't stand out you can't stand how to say that this is happening in your country. It's so shameful.
And it was indicated that the amount was illegally withdrawn just 2 months to the end of the tenure of former President Jonathan. Anyway, Ekweme's funeral rites begin today. Very sad. We lost one of the greatest icons of Nigeria history.
Yes, another statement, and I believe all is being done to ensure that he is given a befitting burial.
Absolutely. Okay, the Daily Sun reports, and it is very, of course, only to be expected. IPOB loses in court. Ohaneze angry. Why are they angry?
Of course, they will be angry. It's expected. It will be so surprising to hear that Ohaneze rejoices because of that. You should see that IPOB, part of what IPOB is doing is to project the Biafran agenda. Forget the tactics or the strategy that the so-called leader of that group adopted, which everyone condemned. But virtually everyone from that part of the country are still in line with that.
Do we know where Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, is? Do we know where he is, really?
That is another riddle.
All right, Yoruba elders reject cattle colony. Others urges Buhari to accept restructuring. Okay, we're back to that debate over restructuring. It seemed, maybe it was because of Christmas, you know, we just went,
they went on holiday.
Yeah, went on holiday. Now we're back, you know, talking about restructuring. Of course, the NDA, Niger Delta Avengers, are already threatening. They're saying if this is the opportune time to restructure the country, Yoruba elders are re-echoing that. Okay,
looking at that issue again, what made the Yoruba elders to come up with this restructuring again is the cattle colony, the cattle colony that is being projected by the government, by the panel set up by the government. But the truth of the matter is that it is high time we started looking at this issue that we have as more of economic issue than political, than ethnic, than religion, than religious issue. There's nothing wrong in universities done, you know, setting off papers, setting off, you know, a lot of academic, you know, conferences and all that to discuss this issue and come up with a solution. All you just hear is, you hear people talking about, you know, people want to put political tone into to read. Some people ethnic, some people religious. You understand? But the truth of
makes it even more
difficult. It even makes it more difficult to solve because you won't want to even look at the rudiments, the real cause,
which is economic.
Exactly.
Which is economic.
And there have been one is really even Vice President Oshibajo saying that do not play politics with this issue. Excuse me, it's very sensitive. Don't play politics with it for the sake of all Nigerians.
Yes, yes, yes.
But who are those really playing politics with it? That's the question. Okay, Nigeria in crisis. That's Nyesom Wike saying there. Country complex says, Ahmed Tinubu, the country is complex. How complex is Nigeria? And how can we make it less complex?
Okay, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that said that is someone that you know should know. Is speaking from the perspective of knowledge. Yes. But what I just want to add to that is that complexity should be our strength. What a lot of things that I think you would have referred to, you know, is a country you have that someone said that in every 5 black people you find one as a Nigerian. So, and we have a lot of researchers have shown that over 500 languages, different dialects. You understand? A lot of things. In all this, God did all this for us and blessed us with abundant resources. The problem we are lacking is, so all those complexity, quote and unquote, should be the source of our strength. So I think we should look, why having it in mind that is a complex situation, we should just make use of that, you know, to solve a lot of problems that we have.
Okay, so we go to the Daily Times. The major story, farmers versus herdsmen, series 2. Fulani herdsmen, not AK-47 wielding members, that's according to Sirikin Fulani, with some riders under it, insists gunmen killing people are disguised terrorists, says genuine members carry only cutlass for self-defense. rejects cattle colonies in preference for ranches. Okay, so we'll leave that aside since we talked about it earlier. Reps probes 7.6 trillion naira crude oil revenue loss to international oil firms.
Is another one, if you ask me.
We have so many of them. Right?
But all I just want to say to this is the reps should ensure that they do a clinical work. We've had cases of reps probing anything that involves oil, oil, and at the end of the day get their hands, oily at the end of the day. So I think it's a good thing to hear that they are trying to beam the searchlight on suspected fraud. But it's not all. They should try to ensure that it is clinical.
Yeah, but then again, it really has to do with the motivation or the motive behind this investigation. Is it really to curb corruption in this country, or is it for some other, altruistic
all right,
reasons? Do you have something else?
Yeah, we have more. Lassa
fever
fever claims 4 lives in Eboyin. 139 under surveillance. Sadly, just a few days ago, 2 doctors were lost to it, and now this is the latest.
Yeah, well, I think the Federal Ministry of Health should work hand in hand with the government involved to ensure that this is nip in the bud. And
but it's even more troubling when health workers are the ones who are actually the victims
that
in
is,
this case.
that is
the people who really should be the ones providing healthcare to Nigerians. So, I mean, if the healthcare providers, their numbers are depleted, what would be the fortune of Nigerians?
The unfortunate part of some of the diseases, quote unquote, that we are having these days is that the major victims are the health workers, because you could recall of the incidents of Ebola, you could recall of the incidents of so is that time that the government try to look beyond, and the major challenge I will have with this is that immediately that thing is quickly solved. There's this
and then we'll go back,
nobody talks about it again.
Okay, Vanguard is our last paper this morning. Herdsmen killing. Sultan indicts federal government, security agencies, exonerates Mieti Allah, says armed herdsmen are criminals. As Khan Onaekon accused religious leaders of insincerity. So many details there about this herdsmen killings. What else do we have here? Boeing shuts down schools for 7 days. That's what happens when a nation, does not take responsibility. The children who are supposed to be the future of the country end up paying the price. Because, I mean, kids don't go to school for 7 days. It will have some kind of impact, wouldn't it?
Definitely it will.
And, of course, IPOB remains terrorist organization. What else do we have here? Do we want to do Mr. and Mrs.? What I'm looking at here, I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. is becoming more and more family friendly these days. It's so scary to read it out. But of course, do you know what? Do you know that to have, that thing that happens between husband and wife?
You have to explain a lot of the sentences
without her consent. Without her consent, is the madam that's complaining. To do it without her consent amounts to rape. And then the man replies, then it's armed robbery if your wife forces you to pay or part with money. It is armed robbery if your wife forces you to part with your money without your consent.
All right, well, that wraps the newspaper review at this point. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll still be talking to Adiola. Of course, you're still with us. We'll be looking at, what will we be looking at for this time? The fuel subsidy saga, which is, of course, reechoing again.
Is there subsidy?
We're still paying subsidy when we're told we were not paying.
Is there subsidy or not? That's the question this morning.
I think we've even established that already.